Right, welcome everyone to another episode of the Love Island cast. I am Chris Phelps and my co-host is Mr. Dave Horrocks.
Hey there, Chris. Good to speak to you again after our day off, and good opportunity for about 20 minutes of just pure childishness.
So Dave, Michael, the guy is a fucking schizophrenic. I don't know what he thinks he's doing, but obviously we watch the episode tonight. Finally, I know there's a few things to talk about, he's been voted off. And it was all revealed on Twitter before the episode because they usually have them on lockdown and say, right, they don't say who's gone or anything. And then they'll let them out basically after the show and they send them home. Well, we got those pictures of him on bloody Twitter on a plane, weren't they? Because they wanted him for that after sun for the showdown with Joanna. So we sort of had a feeling it was him, but it just, and you predicted it bang on, but it just ruined the whole episode, really.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I was taking a bit of a Twitter break last night, so I managed not to get spoiled. I say spoiled in inverted commas. It was pretty obvious he was going to go. I tell you what annoyed me a little bit, though. When the public does a vote, I expect that vote to mean something. But and it does kind of mean something. It saves some of the couples, the most popular couples. But to have 3 of the least favourite couples and then give it up to the Islanders, I'd like at least one vote to count for something, and know who is the most unpopular couple. But because I'm pretty sure it would have been Michael and Francesca, Francesca I do feel a little bit sorry for. I thought she was coming out of her shell a bit, and when she picked Michael, I thought it was a good little off the cuff speech that. But yeah, it didn't really throw up any surprises, did it? It was just, it went the way it went. And I guess Chris and Harley only stayed in there through the one vote, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, Dave. They did. And I think you're right. I think what you said the other day on Reflection's absolutely right. He'd done his whole journey, Michael. But what an absolute Billy bullshitter, Dave. I mean, he lays it on the line to Amber. Then he's telling her it's going to work between you and Greg. I wasn't sure. As if he's like a father or something. Very patronising. And then, and I don't know if you saw it, but on After Sun, he's with Joanna. And he's basically saying, well, you know what it's... So he's trying to get in Joanna's books. Well, you know what it's like. You know, when you're in there, and I'm sure... And he looks at the camera. I'm sure everybody's done it. Well, no, mate, I haven't gone on a reality show and told it to 2 girls completely the opposite load of bullshit. And I honestly think, this is my theory, Dave. Now, you can correct me if I'm wrong or disagree. I think what's happened is because this season, and Joe's called it out, I have, you have, and obviously you're a first-time watcher of the series, because it's becoming more and more Towie orientated. As much as I'm enjoying the show, you can see where the cues are, where they're being told what to do. I think Michael is a producer's and a director's dream. I think they're saying to him, we need you to go and break up with Amber. Have you got the bottle to do it? It'll make great TV. And he goes and does it. Then they go, this Joanna's going and get with her. Right, okay, bin Joanna off and then say you want to get back with Amber. Because nobody logically can understand what the hell he's done in such a small space of time. And that's my theory of all of it. Because watching him last night with Joanna, she was willing to forgive and forget because she's thinking, hang on, okay, deal. We'll get a few $100,000 out of this, selling this story before the show finishes and blah, blah, blah. And we'll be going to all these opening of crappy movies and all this. And you can see his career's mapped out. He could potentially become a reality star, bad guy all the time. There's stuff like X on the Beach and things like that. He'll probably end up on that and he'll just go from girl to girl. And I think they ask him to do it and he doesn't give a fuck and just goes and does it. And that's exactly what I think is happening with him, to be honest, because it doesn't make any sense the way he is at all.
It doesn't make sense, but you might be right with the whole Towie thing, and that'll be, on my personal journey throughout this series, that'll be hugely disappointed, to be honest. If it's like wrestling, it's all predetermined and essentially someone knows. The reason I kind of think it's not predetermined is, well, the betting. If it's all predetermined, there's all the betting odds and stuff. Surely they can't do that.
Dave, they have betting odds on the wrestling. you go on Ladbrokes and Sky Bet and everything, and the WWE have they have odds on who's going to win the Royal Rumble or who's going to win something else, and it's like, but it's a predetermined outcome for something, you know. But
and do it. Baffles my mind that. How can they get away with that? You know, Vince McMahon, he must be sticking a few quid on. I'm sure it's about 3 businesses removed from him, so you can't sort of trace it back. But someone must be slipping them, you know, just stick 50 grand on this, you know, person to win it.
Dave, it wouldn't surprise me. I promise you it wouldn't, because it's fucking nonsense. I mean, I know Michael... what he's done is unbelievable. I mean, what do you think of him as a person? I mean, I know I've just sort of gone on a bit of a mini rant there, but...
So I think he genuinely thinks he's a nice guy, and I think he doesn't understand what he's done is so wrong. You know, and I was a tiny bit disappointed. I know everyone was having a bit of an Ovi loving. There was only Ovi really able to get through to him, but Ovi really put on the kid gloves when he was talking to Michael. You know, when he was saying, like, back, was it last week, when he was saying, like, well, do you think, you know, you spoke to Amber in the way that you've just spoken to me now? So you could say he's been very diplomatic, but I think he was too diplomatic there. I think sometimes you just need to say, look, you are bang out of order. I don't know who you think you're speaking to or how you think that is normal, but let me tell you now, it's not. And I think, unfortunately, because Ovi had treated it in that sort of kid gloves kind of way, Michael left that conversation thinking, oh, Amber's just taken it particularly badly. Not, I was a complete and utter cock, which is what he is. And I hope that he actually takes the time to watch it and he sees how his behavior, because in his head, I don't believe it is what we see.
Yeah.
You know, in his head, I think everything was perfectly fine what he's done there. And you have to wonder, you know, when he's not on a reality TV show and when he's just out in the real world, he goes around with this idea of himself that he's this nice guy. And he, you know, initially he behaves like a really nice guy. He had us all fooled, didn't he? But then, you know, he'll go and say different things to different girls and like just completely tailor it to what that person wants to, what he thinks that person wants to hear. But I'm massively surprised at Joanna, to be honest, having watched all of this. Then you've got to question her motives, because surely any self-respecting woman wouldn't take him back after after what he's done, surely.
No, but on the flip side of it as well, is Joanna was seen when she came back, I don't think we mentioned it on the show, wrapping her legs around a guy from last series called Jack, he came into it after a few weeks and he ended up getting with a girl, they split up and that. But you see her at the airport now, they're supposedly, that the PR was, they've got the same agent, you know, they're represented by the same people. Well, if you look online on Twitter and that at the pictures, I'm pretty sure I don't run up, or I've never seen one of my friends who's female run up to me and wrap the legs around me because they're pleased to see me in the middle of an airport, Dave. I'm sorry, I don't buy that one bit. I think maybe they are in a relationship and this is all for this show, basically, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's the telltale sign. Now, do you suffer with migraines, Dave, at all?
No.
Okay, well, I do suffer very rarely, Dave, and I do suffer with it maybe once every 6 months, depending on the lighting. I have got glasses that I very rarely wear because, you know, I don't really need them a lot, but sometimes I do put them on. And last night, when I get a migraine, I can't see out of one of my eyes and I have to close my eyes. Dave, for about 35 minutes last night, I was praying for a fucking migraine. Because why the fuck do I want to see the fakest load of bullshit from Jordan and Anna going around the villa going, right, what we're going to do is I'm going to take you to different places in the villa. It's not exactly they're living in fucking like a massive, huge mansion. Yeah, it's bigger than my house. But it's like, we went over here. Do you remember? Like, fuck off. What about that time Ovi was over there giving it your missus, you fucking dick? What a load. of shit. And that is the worst pitch I've ever seen to win anything since we saw Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton battle it out there. I'm sorry, but but fucking hell, it was so pathetic. All I kept thinking was, and I threw a tweet out, was, this is the worst fucking run for the 50k I've seen. It was fucking shit. Nobody wanted to see it. Everyone online was saying the same thing. I mean, Sam was sat there going, what the fuck, these episodes? 35 minutes we had of them two talking about be your girlfriend. It's absolutely ridiculous. I remember being 10 years old and saying to a girl, can I be your boyfriend? Yeah, that was it. That's the end of it. What is this fucking thing?
Do you want to play He-Man?
I mean, I don't know about you, Dave. It probably got me like that. I was so pissed off and annoyed.
It was weird. It's like, I don't understand why it's a thing on this show to call each other boyfriend and girlfriend, and Curtis and Amy with their whole half boyfriend and girlfriend. I don't get why it's a thing. To all intents and purposes, they have been boyfriend and girlfriend since Ovi, was ditched. So it's all a bit weird, that. But what was it he said there? He couldn't bring himself to say the word girlfriend, could he? He says,
chick.
If she'll be my chick. I thought, she's not a chick, she's fucking Big Bird.
I was going to do an impression of Big Bird, but my fucking Jordan one was bad enough. I'm not going to. Yeah, but I mean, Dave, it's so fucking... And then the next day, he brings a fucking brew up and what does she say? She says something so false. I was like, oh, fuck off, Anna. You're not winning it. You're in the bottom three anyway when they did the votes last night. It was fucking nonsense. I mean, some of the comments I can't even say on the show, Dave, about them both, but I don't think I'm that far away. I just don't see anything genuine. I think he might be into her more than she's into him, but by Christ, it was excruciating TV to watch that last night. It was so... I mean, it was bad enough when Tommy did it with Molly May, and I want to go on about her in a sec, Dave, but Jesus Christ, I was like, oh, please, just go to the adverts or do something. I was so pissed off watching it.
I tell you what was a bit funny, though, was when the lads were all sort of talking, and Chris is like, look, what are we actually talking about? Because we have to make something up, to throw them off the scent. So, they're discussing this very, all right, you hate it. I'm sure 90% of us probably did. There's probably some people who, are in there for Anna and Jordan and might have enjoyed that sort of thing. But it's a very light and sort of fun thing, isn't it? If I'm to be forgiving of it. But then they decide, pick, let's say we're talking about Michael. Let's go to the most unsavory, horrible scenario. And say it's all about Michael and like pat Michael as if we're talking about him. And Amber's like, oh, fucking hell, what's going on? Well, come on, lads. There could have been something else, surely, that you could have said you were talking about or made out like you were talking about. But yeah, I thought that was a bit mean, that.
It's good TV, though, Dave, isn't it? That's the
well, that is true, yeah.
It is good TV. Now, Dave, we got a preview for tomorrow's show. And I know it's going to be one of the games. They're showing a game where I've been waiting for this for so long, Dave. And you know what's going to come this week, Dave? The lie detector test. And I can't fucking wait for them all to be exposed. That is coming this week 100%. We saw Morris and Curtis, didn't we? A little preview of like Curtis is with Amy. More, it's so fake or whatever. Morris like looking as to say, that's fucking wrong. But then we see Belle throw the water in Molly's face, and Molly's like mortified. And I think I speak for pretty much everyone in the UK and go, fucking throw it harder next time, Belle, because it was fucking marvellous, Stephen. I cannot wait to see it.
I am looking forward to that one, I must admit. I mean, I was like, I wonder what's come out. I mean, do you think that's the tweet, or do you think, wasn't there a game where they repeat what they've said?
Yes.
Because Anton got called out, didn't he? Because he'd said that Molly May was fake. So I reckon, of the multiple things that Molly May said to try and sabotage other couples, it's going to be either about Belle herself or Belle and Anton. And as we've seen, Anton's been on the rough end of it, Belle don't pull any punches, does she? So I can't wait for this bit tomorrow night.
There was an article while the show was on tonight, and I don't know the validity of it, so please forgive me. It was hard enough for me to say validity, so let me see where we go with it. But it did say, an insider's actually said that Molly has said if Tommy tries to kiss her one more time, she's going to be physically sick. And she said this and spoke to one of the other girls in the house about this. Now, obviously, we've not seen that, Dave. I don't know how true that is, but there was a big article on it last night and it got retweeted a lot. Now, that would marry up with what a lot of us have said. And I think that if they do win it, which we know for a long time they were favourites, they may still be getting the votes. I'm not sure. I think Ovi should be, but we just don't know how that's going to play out of India. If they do get it, it'll last for 6 months. Like what happened with Jack and Danny. They moved in together. They got the reality show, blah, blah, blah. It happened the year before with Chris and Olivia. They were really fiery. They were a proper fiery couple. But they only lasted. They got their own reality show. And as the reality show was coming out, they split up before it premiered. So it was like following them around, arguing. And then at the end of it, it was like, well, they split up anyway. So I just call bullshit on their relationship. And I do think what I thought of her and pretty much everyone I know says about her is she's just completely blagging it.
Yeah, I have seen various people say, you know, and I've not looked at them that close, but say that like these little telltale signs that like when Tommy touches her or something, she flinches. There was a little bit the other night, you know, when it shows them all going to sleep. And, you know, Tommy's like there. He is like a little puppy dog, isn't he? He's definitely into her. And he's like, oh, I love you. And she's just like, not interested. She's like, yeah, I love you more. Something like that. And I was just like, I am not convinced by that at all. But yeah, I mean, well, they weren't in the bottom three tonight, were they? So they must be getting some votes.
Oh,
so
yeah.
It's just whether, you know, are people really bought into it? I think a few weeks ago, you know, they were the only real couple in there for a while, weren't they? Now you've got Anna and Jordan. That's a viable alternative. We saw Chris and Harley get together tonight. I think it's a bit too late probably for them, but I've been warming to Chris a little bit. He's sort of winning me round a bit, to be honest. So, you know, you could have Ovi in India, maybe. I still think I'm questioning her motives, quite honestly, and I don't think they're going to have enough time to really show us, the audience, moments between them that will win them votes. So I think Molly May and Tommy, unfortunately, I still think they've got a pretty good chance of winning.
You could be right, Dave. Like I say, they're in the top, I think probably realistically, they're in the top two at least. So we'll see how it plays out. And we've obviously...
What was that betting site you looked at when Joe was on?
I think it was Sky Bet.
Odds Checker, was it?
It was Odds Checker and Sky Bet.
Right, so Tommy and Molly May are 6-4 on. So they're definitely the favourites. Oh, it's got the winning couple. So, yeah, Tommy and Molly May favourites. Then we've got Ovi in India coming in second, actually.
Yeah, I've got that 2-1.
Yeah, Curtis and Maura coming in after that. And then Amma and Greg. You know what? Again, I think possibly Greg's come in too late as well. I don't think he's put a foot wrong now, has he?
No, he hasn't.
Considering he's walked into that, you know, whirlwind, you know, it could have gone so badly. But I've been pretty impressed with how he's handled everything.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's a sound guy, to be honest, Dave, and he's funny as well.
Yeah, let's see.
That, guys, so if you want to get in contact with the show, on Twitter, at Love Island Cast. If you want to email the show, the loveislandcast@gmail.com. If you do like the show, please tell your friends about us. We've got 10 days left of Love Island UK, and we've got the USA show running as well. If you do like the show, please get onto your podcast catcher and drop us a 5-star review. We just appreciate any help and support. It just gets us out there in podcasting world to more people.
Okay, so thanks for that, Chris. And thanks again to all of our listeners who get in touch with us, drop us reviews and all that stuff, drop us messages. We love all of that. Before we go, I just want to call out, this is our top 10 listener base. So these are the places in the UK where we have the most listeners. So top to bottom, we're going London, Manchester, Liverpool, Birmingham, Islington, Bradford, Northampton, Nottingham, Barnsley and Sunderland. So if you're not in that top list, get in touch with your mates, get them listening, and let's get up that league table. Well, Chris, tonight we've said goodbye to Michael, who was right there on day one. And for the first few weeks, he definitely had us fooled, and we thought he was a great guy. But all I'll say to you now, Michael, is don't let your arse hit the door on the way out.